Okay, best method for sending film, and as far as what's needed, to me, game film is very dependent on the circumstances and the level. The NFL is extremely well organized now. It took a long time to get there with this whole changeover from 35 millimeter, 16 millimeter DVDs, the whole 9 yards, to having a system from Exos and from Huddle and from all the companies, the digital companies that supply tape from colleges to the NFL libraries. It's all sent from the college teams upon request at the beginning of the year. How that happens is the two combines, National and Blesto, have lists. And off those lists, they send those lists of those players with those that are graded, free agent and above, okay, to the NFL, and the NFL requests those tapes from those schools' video directors, okay? And then they assign the video directors at the NFL teams to encourage those teams to send those tapes in, okay? So there's a system and a structure. So if your athlete plays at 1A or 1AA, or if they're an outstanding Division II or III player, usually all the tape that you need is in. Okay, that was not the case in the past. All right, there was always huge requests for tapes because it was always behind. Now it's almost instantaneous. They feed it through the wire, through the internet, as soon as it's taken and cut up at the college to the NFL offices, and the NFL offices distribute it to the 32 teams. So now what if you have a prospect at a JC or a Division III school that hasn't been followed? He comes out late. Then the agent in the process is extremely helpful, okay? And you will probably get overrun with requests once somebody pops up on the radar, they're late. So your client, maybe he's not seeing a lot of interest, and then he's at Dayton, and he goes to the Ohio State Pro Day. They let him in that day, and he runs a 4.38, and he's a corner, and he's 5'11" and 190 pounds. Every scout in that building is going to want to see that tape. Okay. Once they pop measurables, it's their due diligence to find out whether the player can play at the NFL level, okay? It's not that they discovered them, it's that they fell in their laps and got lucky. And sometimes you find out, you know what, this player has potential. Sometimes you find out, he can't play. That's why nobody's been through the school. He's not an NFL player from a skill perspective, but he can run fast and he has good size. That's part of the process. The scouts doing their due diligence. And if you're an agent in that situation, you will get run over for requests. Because they'll go to the school will say they're on it, it will be a lag time, okay? It's not the school's fault. And I guess I'm giving you information so you can see it from everybody's perspective. They might have a dozen teams that were there at Ohio State. It's someplace like Ohio State, almost a scout from every team. It's rare that they don't. And say afterwards, they let all the non-Ohio State players be tested. And usually you'll have a core of very dedicated scouts that will stay. Not all of them will. Some of them have got to get on to the next school. And so you might have 12 to 16 scouts that witness that. Those are the scouts that are going to request tape to the school. The school's getting overrun. And they may be far into recruiting or something else, and spring ball, and they don't have time. So what happens is the scout needs the tape. So he's going to call whoever's listed as the agent. And you're going to get over that, okay? Everybody's going to have to take patience, but I will tell you this. If you have a client at a JC that's a good player, a Division III or Division II, it behooves you to go ahead and get in front of that process and request tape from the school so that it's there when you need it, that it can be duplicated, or you can just simply send it in NFL Films, and then all the teams have access to it. It's a lot easier to send it into NFL Films if you're a part of that process than it is for you to send out 32 packets and a lot of postage to handle it from there. But I would say it's very specific. Do we watch it? Yes, if it's a prospect. Do we watch the random stuff that comes over the internet, especially as the draft process gets going? No. Okay, I'll just tell you from my perspective. If I read your email and I see there's measurables in there that are legitimate for the player at the position, and he had production, might take a gander, I might have somebody else take a gander. But overall, between the combine, the all-star games, the pro days, and the NFL now region combines, for your legitimate athlete to be overlooked by the end of that process, to me, is almost rare. Okay? That doesn't mean that there's low-rated prospects that don't make it. That just means for your particular client to work through the cracks. If you've taken him to the regional combine or the pro day, that's rare. So when we get stuff on players that we have no information from the regional combines, no information from a pro day, either at a bigger college or at that player's college, no spring information, probably not going to watch that tape. Okay? Probably not going to watch the tape, and that's just honest. There's just so many prospects. We go through about 1,600 at the beginning and work it down to, I'm used to a board that's 100 or less at the end. Obviously, there's another board with all the free agents, but as far as the main board, there's around 100. So I guess what I'm saying is don't, and I think most agents have stopped this and realized don't waste your postage on DVDs unless you're requested it. If you requested it, you have somebody that's interested. Then you want to try to do your due diligence to get it to them, and then get it to the NFL films.